out there, and welcome to the Revere Veterans and Community Show. Today we have a real special guest. He came all the way from Europe to speak with us. His name is Nick Giacobbe. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you. Thank you.
By the way, Nick is also the president of the Council of Elder Affairs, which I am part of. So, Nick, thank you for that, too.
You're welcome.
I understand you went to France and Italy.
Yes, we did.
And you was also a Korean veteran.
Correct. Correct.
So let's start off with your trip to France.
Trip to France,
And
right.
you visited Normandy.
Yes.
And you
yes.
took some nice pictures there,
Yes.
which I see laid out on your table. So
Right.
Nick,
Now, I'm not sure now, Morris, if I should pick up the picture like
No.
this or if he has it.
he'll
But-
probably have it on the screen for
Right.
you, and then you can talk about it on there.
Right.
And you
But-
went to Normandy, and the name of the cemetery is actually called?
Omaha Beach Cemetery.
Oh, Omaha Beach.
Beach,
Cemetery.
yes. Right.
Right.
And but before we went to the cemetery, we went to the Bellevue Woods.
You got any
Where-
pictures of the building?
Yes, I do.
Show them up
This-
on the, if you
I-
can pick them up and blow them up.
Oh, see that I
Don't
wasn't
take me
sure.
literally there,
I wasn't sure if he could.
It's right behind you.
Oh,
There it is, right
Oh,
there.
oh
Now
my-
tell
oh
tell
my
us a little
God.
about that, Nick.
oh well. All right. Now the picture that you see right there is a picture of the four. Well, we were four couples that went together, and Freddie Pratt is the one I have my hand on. He worked right at the senior center for a while. This the
He's the one
beginning.
in the white jacket?
No, the one that I'm holding on to. See
Oh,
that?
yep,
Right,
yep.
the one I'm holding, Fred Pratt.
Right.
And the other two fellas, well, one's from Lynn and one's from, I want to say, I'm really not sure, but they're very good friends. And we had a great, great time. And we all brought our wives. There were four couples, and we went for 2 weeks in France. And when we went to the cemetery in France, if I could show
Yep,
show
go right
this.
ahead, Nick.
Okay, there's a picture of the bunker at Omaha Beach. This is a bunker at Omaha Beach.
Right there.
And there, oh my goodness, wow, is that wonderful. And that's another, his name's Joe, and he's a very good friend of ours. And it was unbelievable traveling through these bunkers.
Nick, if I may ask you, when you
Yes.
say bunker, was that the ones the Germans were in when they were shooting out at the beaches?
That's correct. That's exactly where the Germans were. And
I think
boy,
that was General von Rundstedt who was in charge of that, the
Okay.
commander of the German army.
okay, yes. And boy, were they built. I mean, you couldn't believe the way they built these things for safety. And they took care of themselves. They took very good care of themselves.
Beautiful.
And then after we went through some of the bunkers, we decided to get into some of the, what would you want to call that? A tank.
Until he blows it up there on the screen.
Right. If you could see a picture of that, it happens to be something
this
that.
the one right here?
Oh, there! Oh my goodness! There it is. It's something that they would shoot at us. They would shoot at the Americans.
That was a German?
That was a German one. Yes, yes, and it was one that was taken. And there it is. Yeah. Okay. This here is a M1 rifle that I carried for.
That's what I had too at the beginning.
You know, I carried that in Korea for 2 years, and it was something that wasn't easy to carry, but it was safety. If you had that, you felt better.
Right.
Believe me, as Morris knows, you had to have something like that, and it wasn't light. It was heavy,
Yep.
but it did what it was supposed to do. As much as I hate to say. Next, I'd like to tell you about the Veterans Cemetery in Normandy. The cemetery, the first picture of crosses that I'd like to show you
And there's a
is
Star of
the
David, too?
Star of David right there.
No, that's the other one.
I'm sorry. Oh, there it is. There it is.
That's the one.
The Star of David.
Yep.
And it just.
Excuse me, Nick, can I ask you what, I see Christians, I see a Jewish star. Was there any crescents there that you saw?
All right. Could you tell me, would it be a different?
It would be like a circle, like around,
They,
like a half moon.
yes, they had a few. Yes, they did.
Have a few,
Yes, they
okay.
did. I didn't take a picture of it,
But they did
but
have
they
them.
did have them. Yes, but this is the one I wanted to make sure I got.
That's a nice, I
And
mean, a
it's-
sad shot,
yes,
but a beautiful
yes.
shot of it.
And I can't believe how many of our Americans were killed.
Did they have any number that were down there roughly? Do you know of how many?
I want to say,
Approximately then?
oh boy,
Because we did lose 400,000 during the war.
jeez, I want to.
That's okay, Nick,
15.
no problem.
I want to say 15,000, 15.
Wow.
I may be wrong.
No, but even that,
yes,
even if that's
yes,
a low number,
yes,
that's a tremendous
yes,
amount of lives
yes.
lost.
And just the way it was, because the beach that they came, that they would come on,
Yep,
was one.
right there, Nick.
Oh, there it is. There's the beach that it was wide open, and they had all their equipment, covered.
What is that behind you? if I
Yes,
may ask?
they were like plaques,
Oh.
that they could show what happened to us, because it was terrible. It was something that we could remember. If you go there, you see that, you say, "Oh my God,
That's fantastic,
we
man.
lost all these people." Isn't that a nice picture, though?
It
that
is.
That is, and it was the
I wish I
weather.
could have been with you, but
I
I'm
know.
glad you went.
Thank you. The weather was nice to get there, and the people were so wonderful. We enjoyed every minute that we were there, and we did a lot of crying. I hate to say it. You think, you see things where we would come in and be killed, and
I
it
got
was
to tell you, when you went to the Omaha Beach Cemetery,
yes,
we had gone to Bourne Cemetery at the same time, and we did a lot of crying.
yes,
too. So
yes.
I can sympathize.
It
with you.
was terrible, and here is one of the plaques that was put up in in Normandy.
Yep.
And there it is, with names and everything all over it.
Yep.
And
Did you read some of the names? What are they? The names of the soldiers or the names of the battles?
the battles,
Oh,
the names of the battles. They had another, whatever you want to call it, where they listed the names of
They
the.
did have one there?
Unbelievable, how many names. I didn't want to try to read the names. Because the reason I didn't want to read the names is because I want to make sure that I've read the right name, because some of the names were, they were tough to read. They were tough to read.
I got to tell you, Nick, I want to thank you personally. You took some beautiful pictures. I mean,
Thank you.
I don't think I could have done a better job, even if I want to.
No, it was a trip that I'll never forget, and it was one that, thank God, the weather was with us. The people that we went with were very, very friendly, and very considerate and kind.
Looking out at that water that I see there, is that the English Channel?
That is.
That is
yes,
the English
it is.
Channel?
Yes, if you went over not that many miles, if
No.
you look over, you could actually see it.
You could see England
Yeah,
from
you
where
could
you
see
were?
it. You could see it right from there.
Wow.
Yes, it wasn't far at all, not at all. But it was a trip that I'll never forget, and I'm so glad to be able to share.
I never could understand what the Germans, when they were bombing England, and they were in France, they had already captured France and were skyrocketing with their bombers. How come they never made an attempt to cross the channel?
No, you are right.
I mean, if it's that
Yeah.
short.
Yes, yes. No,
I'm glad
boy.
they didn't, though.
Right. Oh, I agree. And then I probably showed you my the rifle that I carried.
Yes.
My M1.
I wish show that again,
Oh,
because I
I'm
wanted to look
sorry.
at that. There was something on there. It
Yeah,
is.
there. Yeah, that's
Yep.
that's the.
Now,
the
Nick, I noticed the others have the bayonet on them, but
Yes.
we had the M1. We had a bayonet too.
Right. And of course I carried my bayonet.
Oh, in the pocket.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's my M1 rifle.
Yep.
That I carried for many months.
Did you have the inspection where you had to clean it yourself and take it apart?
Absolutely.
Yep. Us
Absolutely.
too.
Yes. Absolutely. But
many years ago. Let's see, in my case, 46, 67 years ago.
Wow.
That's in my case.
That's your, okay, yeah. All right, but it did the job.
Yeah, it brings back, just looking at that picture brings back a lot of memories to me.
Yes.
Yep, we used to get up in the morning for inspection. We had the rifles cleaned, the barrels cleaned.
Oh my God, absolutely. Yep. Because it was for you, it was for your safety. It was for you, and it worked. It really did a nice job.
Did a beautiful job. Nice shot too.
Thank you. And this is some of the things that they carried. The soldiers would carry in their
knapsack.
Yes, in their knapsack. And of course, a lot of them were smoked. So some of them had.
They carried all that.
Well, they carried in any way they could, and it was one that they needed. So from there, should I go on?
Yes, go on, because there's only a couple of more there before we go into the next subject.
I have to show you. Really don't.
There it is, right behind you.
Oh, there it is.
Is that the Eiffel Tower or the Leaning Tower of Pisa?
That's and of course that's the Eiffel Tower with the small statue of Liberty. That's the small Statue of Liberty right there, which is beautiful.
How high would you say that?
I would say that's probably 60 feet, roughly.
60 feet? That's almost like the one we got down in New York.
It's, the way they have it. Yes, It really is something. And of course, the Eiffel Tower, how, I don't know exactly how high that goes.
You went right up to the top?
Right up to the top.
They do have a restaurant there,
They have a restaurant they have one right in here.
Yep, right.
Right in there, there's a restaurant. And so many people that just keep going and keep going and keep going. And like I said before, the weather was gorgeous. It was perfect, just perfect for something
beautiful
like this.
Shot you took again.
And of course, this was at nighttime.
Oh, that is a beautiful picture
We took
too.
a picture at nighttime.
There it is.
Look at that. Isn't that something?
Gorgeous.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
And, I mean, that isn't snow or anything. It just happens to be water where we were.
Oh, is that what the vapor?
Yes. Yeah, that isn't snow. It wasn't snow, but it was something that I'll never forget. Really,
beautiful,
just wonderful.
First of all, thank you for taking those pictures because I enjoyed them just watching them.
Thank you. You're welcome, Horace.
Nick, now I got to ask you this here. After you left France, you went to Italy.
Yes.
Take us from the time you left France to where you went to Italy, and what city in Italy did you go to?
Right to Rome.
Directly to Rome?
Directly to Rome.
I want you to tell us about Rome, but before we do, you have a son there. I believe his name is Nick Giacobbe, Jr.
Correct.
And he works for the U.S. Embassy.
Yes.
So I want you to start the trip. You live in France. You're leaving France. You're going to Italy.
Right.
And now you're going to visit your son.
Okay.
Let's go.
Right. Well, we had a choice of how to get from France to Rome or France to Italy. And they said, why don't you take the train? And I said, oh, that sounds like a good idea. But my wife said, how many hours on the train? They said, probably 15, 16 hours on the train. She said, we're flying. She said, no, we're not going that way.
15, 16 hours?
On the train. On the train. So they said, no. She said, no, we're going to take a plane. The plane was only about an hour and a half. Not even an hour and a half. Just about an hour. That's all, from France to Italy.
To Rome airport?
To Rome, right to Rome, right there, boom. And my son was right there to pick us up, and my son and my daughter-in-law. Picked us up right at the airport. From the airport, we went to the beach right there in Rome, because they have nice restaurants along the beach. And from where he lives in Rome to where the airport was, it was a good, roughly 45 minutes, away. So he said, we're going to stop on the beach and have a nice dinner, because it was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon that we got there. So we went on the beach and we walked around the beach, and then we went in to eat right in the restaurant. met a lot of nice people right there at the restaurant, and we had a ball. I mean, the food was excellent, and the people were so nice, and of course my son picking us up and taking us and driving us back was wonderful.
I want to say something before you tell us about your sightseeing in Rome, which you did.
Yes.
Yeah, Marie, I want to thank you for taking the plane, because if he took the train for 16 hours, we'd have another 2-hour show. So we cut a show up by a plane ride. So
Right.
tell me, what did you see in Rome?
Okay, in Rome, it was a trip that we've done before, but not with my son, who works for our government, and has a lot to do with different places to go see. So we went to oh, what do you call it? Not the big cemetery, but what do they call that, Morris? Where they have
Not the Coliseum.
the Coliseum. That's exactly it.
That's what they call it.
Thank you. The Coliseum. Thank
But
you.
I've never been to that part of the state.
And they're really enforcing it. They're doing it.
Right.
They're doing it all over, not all over. They're trying to, reinforce it so that
Right.
it won't come down.
Collapse, right.
Right. And they are doing a lot. And that place was so crowded too, the Coliseum. It's unbelievable, because some of the things that you have to go visit just to get to them and walk along and see this and that and the other thing, and then to see some of the statues up high, oh, it was incredible.
You know, I see this on TV, but I've never been in there. Did you go to the Vatican too?
We went to the Vatican also, and we got to see the Pope.
You did? The new one? Or
I have to tell you, if I can take a minute to...
Take as much time as you need.
Okay. When we went to the Vatican, my son got us tickets because the Pope was going to come around on his little...
Mobile?
It's like and it isn't even protected at all. Yeah. It's open.
Oh, he has an open one?
He has an open mobile, and he comes along, and the seats all I can't tell you how many seats. I'd say 10,000 seats. People all over the place, And so my son got us nice seats, right? And he got them because my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law met us in Rome. And they wanted to come and visit with the Pope also. So my daughter-in-law went to pick up my son, my brother-in-law, and my sister-in-law. So she couldn't come with my son and my wife and I to the seats. They never got to sit where we were.
Oh,
and we were so close to where the Pope was coming. But they did get to see him. So now, we got there, he was going to come around about 10 o'clock. We got there about 8 o'clock in the morning. So we got beautiful, great seats, so nice and close. So we sat there and talked to people that were sitting near us, and found out where they were from and what where we were from, and we just communicated.
I got to tell you, Nick, I heard this on the radio, I heard it on TV, but maybe you could elaborate on it more. This Pope Francis, the new one that they have, he doesn't even live in the Vatican. He has a place outside the Vatican. He rides on the buses in there. He goes shopping, and he dresses up just like you and I do sometimes.
He is so different than the popes that we've had in the past years. He's wonderful.
He is. I agree with you.
He is.
And by the way, Time Magazine made him Man of the Year, and I think they picked the right choice.
Oh my God, yes.
Yep.
Oh, I definitely agree. He is wonderful. I can't say enough for him, really. And just for him to ride by in his little, whatever you want to call it, what would you call it?
The Pope-mobile.
That's it exactly. For him to ride by us in his Pope-mobile slowly, and stop, and shake hands with some people.
Oh, he did that?
He did. He looked great, and he wasn't worried about being shot or hit.
Right.
Nothing.
No security or anything?
No. I mean, there were people, close to him.
Yeah.
But he wasn't worried about anything like that.
God bless him.
And
Good.
really, and of course God was watching.
No, I'm sure he was.
He was, but it was wonderful.
Right.
It was great to see him.
Now, Nick, what I'd like to do is, you've been to France, you've been to Italy. I'd like to put you on an airplane and take you to where you started your service in Korea.
Oh, boy.
Now, you were in Seoul, you were in Incheon. What I would like you to tell me, Morris,
Yes.
when you went over to Korea, when you first got there,
Yes.
you spent, I think, if I could say, approximately 2 years there?
Yeah, roughly.
That's the same amount I spent in the Army in Berlin. So
Yes.
you tell us about that.
Right. It was one of these, I really didn't have to go to Korea at the time. There were certain tests that we had to take because I had graduated from college, and I could have stayed in the service for 4 years and become an officer. But I chose to put in 2 years and just be a private.
Right, you didn't want to be like we did, the 90-day wonders.
Correct, right. So I was a private first class, and when I was in Korea, I could teach the sergeants and some of the lieutenants, some English and different things
Right.
like that, But in Korea, we lived in tents, and I'll tell you, in the winter, it was cold, cold, cold. I mean, I can't believe how cold it is in Korea. And storms, the winter snow and everything else. But the way we were lucky enough to dress and to be taken care of, the food, I mean, I'm not one for fancy foods, but whatever it is they offer us, I would eat it. Believe me, I would eat it.
Tell us some of the things that you ate there.
Oh, some of the things you ate.
Yeah.
A lot of, jeez.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm really not sure but whatever it was, I ate it.
Nick, I would like you to, you went to Washington too, right?
Correct.
On the honor flight.
Yes.
And by the way, folks, if you watch the scroll on Revere TV 8, for those veterans of World War II, Korea, and Vietnam that have never been on an honor flight, it's the best thing that could happen to you. So watch Revere TV 8 scrolls. They give you all the information you need. You call them up, or you fax them, or you email them, and you'll be able to go to Washington just like my friend here, Nicky, did.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
Nick, when you were in Washington, I would rather, since you were in Korea and I
Yes.
wasn't, explain this to them.
The cemetery in Korea has this. They look real. These statues, these soldiers,
Right.
look real.
You almost feel like you're in there with them now.
Absolutely. They bring back, of course, a lot of memories, but just to look at them and to see them, you say, "Hi, Joe. Hi, Sam. Hi, whoever." I mean, hi, Morris. It's unbelievable how real they look. They did such a beautiful job in that cemetery.
I could see that, Nick.
I cannot believe it. And it was a wonderful trip. It was a wonderful trip.
Do you remember who was your commanding officer? Who was the general at that time? Not Ridgway. Was it Ridgway?
MacArthur.
Douglas, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Douglas MacArthur, because he wanted to go into China,
Yeah.
and Truman got rid of him.
Thank you. Yes.
Am I correct then?
Yes, you
Yeah.
are.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
you are right.
Thank you, Nick.
But
So-
I'll tell you, it was unbelievable. I am just so lucky to be able to tell you what I did, where I was, who I was with, and to be here today. I'm just so
I'm glad you are here too, Nick.
Really,
Go right ahead.
I'm very lucky.
By the way, you did visit Seoul. S-C-O-U-L, if I believe that.
Seoul.
Seoul, yeah.
Yeah,
And you
right.
went to Incheon.
Yes.
Incheon is near the water, or
Near the water.
it is on
Yes,
the
near the
okay.
water.
And Seoul is not
Well,
more inland?
It's a little ways, but it's quite a country.
How did you find the South Korean people? I want to emphasize.
South Korean people were wonderful. They were so nice. They would treat us so good. They were so happy to see us, there to help them.
Did you get a chance to go to the DMZ, the demilitarized zone? I spoke to this lady that was here, Roseanne from Winthrop,
Yes.
and she told me that at the demilitarized zone, the South Koreans And the North Koreans are only about 6 feet apart when their soldiers march back and forth to protect the borders.
Yeah,
They
correct.
can almost reach out and shake hands if they want to.
No, she's right. But I really didn't want to get that close.
Oh,
At
because
that
you were
time.
afraid they might kidnap you? Then you wouldn't have been my Council of Elder Affairs president.
You're right. You're right.
But I would have bailed you out.
Yeah. No, I'm just so lucky.
I am lucky too,
Yes,
you know.
Really. Yeah.
Because we had a similar problem in Germany with the Russians. You know, we had a border with them too over there.
right.
And they wouldn't even, like you couldn't cross into North Korea.
Right.
When they put the blockade on, we couldn't go from Helmstedt into Berlin.
Right.
Unless we flew over, because they did the
Right.
same thing with the border guards there. And the Americans and them were just like on the zone in Berlin, just like you and I are sitting
Yes.
here.
Yes.
But the difference was we were friendly. The Russians and us were friendly. There were no attack. It was the bigwigs that had the problem over there.
Oh, I hear you. Yes. No, you're right.
Nick, we got about a few minutes to wrap up, so why don't you take all the time you need, and then I'll wrap it up.
I'd like to tell you a little bit about my son. It was so nice to visit my son in Rome,
Right.
you know, and he's been working for our government roughly, pretty close to 28 years. And some of the places that he's been beside Rome is Cuba. And when we went to visit him in Cuba, we would stay a month at a time. And it was a wonderful trip. But the first year we went to visit him, they treated us really nice. The second year, something happened. They wouldn't even let us travel too far around in the country.
Really, out of Havana?
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but
Cold War. Well, I don't mean the Cold War.
I know what you mean, though. Yes.
Yeah, I would say a Cold War. I mean,
yes.
friction.
Yes. But it was a wonderful trip, and it's nice to have the son that I have. I only have the one son, but he's really great, and he enjoys his work, and he works so hard for our government.
That's good,
He
Nick.
He does.
Okay, Nick, what I want to do is I want to say thank you for coming up here, first of all.
Oh,
God
yeah.
bless you. Thank you
Thank
for the pictures you showed us.
Oh,
Thank
wow.
you for the story you told us.
Oh, thank you. I'm so lucky.
So am I. I'm
Yes.
lucky to have people like you come up here. I want to thank the people of Revere for listening. I want to thank our troops. I want to thank the great country, the United States of America. And Nikki, I want to thank everybody in your family. God bless you. And Marie, thank you for bringing them up here.